Okay, welcome back to the next video. This is actually the second part of the video 3 where we were actually talking about getting things installed and modernizing our app sources and things like that. We're just going to pick up where we left off there. I've got another example, a practical example of real world usage for modernized sources other than your system files. We're going to download and install Google Chrome. What that is a deb package we can get directly from Google, and they still utilize, last time I checked, and we'll verify that, they still use the old way of doing things. So we're going to install, and then we will modernize those sources too, so we keep everything synchronized, and then we will go on and move to the next topic. So let's go ahead and get that started. What we're going to do here is we're just going to go to google.com/Chrome. And this isn't an endorsement for Google Chrome, or later in the video we're also going to use Firefox. I'm not endorsing them either. Your choice, your operating system, you decide which browser you think is best and you install the one you want. I personally don't care what browser you use. So, I'm not saying use this or you got to use that. No, none of that. So anyway, just go to google.com/Chrome, and we're going to hit download, and we're going to choose this top one here that says 64bit.dev for Debian and Ubuntu. Accept and install. What it's going to do is it's just going to download it for us real quick. As soon as it's done there, it says it's completed. We're going to close Firefox. We're going to open our terminal back up. Good, it's still the large font. Didn't have to change that again. Cool. All right, so we're just going to CD to our downloads folder. And right there's our Google Chrome. Go ahead and install it to apt install. And we're going to do // because we don't want to pull files out of the repo. We want to install that local deb file there. And we're going to start typing Google, and then we hit tab to complete it. So we're actually installing this specific file. We're not installing an application that is already in a repo. We'll put in our password. All right, so up here, there's a mixture of information in here. Note, selecting Google Chrome Stable instead of this package here. This is kind of encrypted a little bit. It actually installed the deb file, but the deb file introduces the repository for Google Chrome software. So it's installing this particular package out of the repo that was created when this package was installed. So this got installed, and now it found this. Also, we didn't remove any of the other files from the previous upgrade, so it's still complaining about that. We're going to skip that for now. It's installing this package. Here's your summary. And it went ahead and it downloaded and installed it for you. This notice right here is something that's been around for a while. Ignore it. Just ignore it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and clear the screen. We don't need that deb file anymore, so we can actually remove it. Especially if you're low on space. I did not mean to close my browser. I meant to actually CD back to my home directory, and I hit the wrong key combination. All right, so as before, like I said, it uses the old version, the old format, not the Deb 822. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go look at it real quick. So let's just ls the directory first. Let's see, apt. All right, so you notice it's not there, but if we, sources.d, we notice that it's in here now. But notice that the two that we have modernized end in .sources. This is part of the Deb 822 format. Is now they are called .sources. The old one was called .list. And I'm just going to be lazy, and I'm going to cat the. Actually, let's change that directory. I'm going to teach you a keyboard shortcut here. I'm going to take the last argument of the previous command, and I'm going to use that in my next command. And to do that, we just do cd $! Exclamation point. Nope, sorry, I messed it up. Anyway, $! Exclamation point $! I had that backwards, my bad. All right, so we're going to go ahead and manually go here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and sudo nano. Well, we really don't need sudo because we're not actually changing the file. We're just going to look at it. Okay, this file is automatically configured. You may comment out this entry, but any modifications made may be lost. Okay, this is part of the reason when we have drop-ins in the first place. The system files get replaced when you upgrade from Debian 12 to Debian 13. It's going to overwrite the default files in your system because they can. This is where drop-ins shine because you can just create your own aside from the system files. Let the system files upgrade if they want to. You still haven't lost anything. All right, enough of that rant. What we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and modernize this. No, I don't want to save that change that I accidentally made. Sudo apt modernize sources. All right, so it found this file here. It says the following files need to be modernized. It's found the Google Chrome.list. It tells you what it's going to do, and then it wants yes or no. So we're going to hit yes, and now it's telling you exactly what it did. All right, so when we do an ls again, we have a backup of our original, which is what it said it was going to do. Is it said it was going to create a backup just in case it needed to, and then it went ahead and converted the file to the new format. So let's take a look at that. Google Chrome.sources, and sure enough, it turned it into the Deb 822 format that we need. So now all of our repo files are now in the exact same format like they should be. That's why I'm saying Modernizing Sources is now a tool that can be reused over and over and over again when we decide that we want to install some things. Now, let's say you decided you don't want Google Chrome and you want to remove it. There's a couple different ways you can do that. You can just delete you can just do the rm-rf Google and hit an asterisk behind it, and it'll remove all of the files. Or what you can do is, if you might want to come back to it later, you can, since we already have a backup of it, we can delete this file if we wanted to, but that also means that you would have to rename this and then modernize it again. Or we can just move the sources .back, and apt will ignore it. Oh, I need a sudo. So another shortcut, hopefully I get this one right. So another shortcut we're going to do is I'm going to repeat this last command without typing it out all over again. I'm just going to do sudo and then bang bang. So what it did is it put sudo in front of the last command I did right there and executed that instead. So you don't have to type it all out. Okay. So then when you do a sudo apt update, Chrome doesn't even appear in that list. So if you decide that you're done with Chrome and you get rid of it, you can do that. Before you do that, though, you'd want to do a sudo apt auto remove -- purge, and then you would want to do the Google Chrome stable, and then put an asterisk behind it so it removes all of the packages that are pertaining to that file. And we can go deeper into depth with this in a different apt video. I just wanted to touch on it real quick because we are talking about mastering the package manager, and this is definitely something you want to do. This command by itself, what it will do is it auto removes this package or anything that starts with this package, and it purges it from the system, which means it removes all of its configuration files, all of its cache directories. It removes everything. Purge is a purge. I'm going to go ahead and hit that because Google Chrome was installed when we installed the RPM. Okay, in fact, we go down here and go to Internet. It is sitting right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that, but it's also going to remove all these other files that it pulled in with it. That's what the purge is going to do. So if we hit that, remember we already renamed our repository before. We already ran a sudo apt update, so it's no longer even triggering. So if we try to do a sudo apt install Google Chrome stable, it doesn't even know what it is anymore because we removed the repository. So it's gone. But again, if we want to put it back, we can. right, so I went ahead and moved it back. It's now a dot sources, so apt will see it. Sudo apt update. Oh, it got rid of the license, or the GPG. That's what the purge does, like I said. So this error is because I tried to do something it can't do because this trusted key is gone. We'd have to reinstall the package again, which just proves that when I purged it, I purged it. So let's go ahead and get rid of all the Google Chrome stuff. Sudo bang bang. There we go. All right, no longer there. We're back to Debian and DMO sources. We're going to go ahead and go back to our main directory. That's a CD and hit enter. There's a couple different ways you can do that. It's CD. You can do CD tilde. You can do CD tilde slash. All three of those are the exact same thing. It returns you back to your home directory. If we do a print working directory, we see we are in our home. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, now that we've seen that, is we are going to install a package, and we're going to talk about different ways that we can block packages. And the easiest way to do that is to install a little utility that everybody and their brother that's making all these 1.5 million Debian distribution respins, basically a lot of these, and this, by the way, as a side note, is why you're not going to see me ever reviewing these stupid little respins, because in most cases it's Debian plus a piece of wallpaper, a theme, and one or two little utilities that they didn't even write. And this utility I'm about to show you is one of those that you find absolutely everywhere, and that is Nala. That's sudo apt install Nala. And it helps if I spell install correctly. Okay, yes we are. Okay, before we go any further, let me go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping. It's sudo apt auto remove, and we'll go ahead and clean that up. And another one you want to do, especially as you go on, you download these packages, they get put into temporary locations, and to clean them up, you just do an auto clean. If nothing shows up after this, then that means there was no packages that it cleaned up. But sometimes it gets pretty full. All right, so now the housekeeping's up. Where did we leave off at? Install Nala. Okay, so if we do sudo Nala update, what Nala does is it's a wrapper that wraps around apt, and it colorizes some things. Let's do, actually there was a part of that I missed. Let's purge that real quick. I'm sorry, give me just a second. There was something I was wanting to show you, and that's the next thing that we're going to talk about. I was going to use this to segue in. Apt auto remove purge Nala. Let's go ahead and pull that out. Yes. Okay, we're going to pretend like we didn't install it. We're going to back up a little bit. Rewind history. Rewind time. All right, so now let's go ahead and install it. Okay. So this here is going to install Nala. It's going to install these dependencies, and then this is the list of suggested packages. Nala likes to do this. I don't know why it's not doing it now. Maybe it did it the first time and I just didn't notice it. But one of the suggested packages for Nala is snap. Not everybody likes snaps. I am not going to voice any kind of an opinion about snaps. Snaps have their place. I'm just an old guy with almost 3 decades of experience that has lasted this long with official Deb packages. That's what I'm sticking to. So I don't want to use snaps. It's just a personal preference. Snaps are great. Flatpaks are great. That's all I'm going to say about that. However, like I said, one of the suggested packages is snapd, and I'm going to show you how to stop that from actually installing if you are a person like me that does not want snapd. That's part of the reason why I use Debian and not Ubuntu, is because Ubuntu is so snap heavy. All right, so we can do that. There's a couple different ways we can do it. We can use it using apt mark hold, which is what I'm about ready to show you, but we can also do it with apt pinning. And apt pinning is sufficient, but it's overly complicated for what we were wanting to do. So if we just do a sudo apt mark hold snapd, That's it. Snapd is now set on hold. It won't install Snapd. If you come across an application that you're trying to install and Snapd is a dependency, it will fail. It will straight up tell you, I can't install this because you told me not to. You can get a list of things that are held by show hold, and it tells you Snapd is there. We can unhold it, which basically just says, okay, it's now safe for it to be unheld. We can go ahead and install it later if we want to. I don't, so we will leave it that way. And there's that. The next step we're going to talk about is we're actually going to talk a little bit about apt pinning. I do apologize, we are 15 minutes in this video. I would really like to keep them short, but I really need to talk about this next step. So please bear with me. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to install Mozilla Firefox, but we're going to install it from the official Mozilla repo and not out of the official Debian repo. In the official Debian repo, you only have one option, and that's this one here. Let's go ahead and bring this up, help, about, and that is this version right here. It's the only one you get, 128.11.0.esr. Well, what if you don't want ESR? What if you want daily builds or you want the development version? That's what we're going to talk about next. So we're going to go and get Firefox. And we're going to go here. We're going to download. And we can download the 32-bit, we can download the 64-bit, or we can just read the fine print right here where it says using Debian, Ubuntu, or any Debian-based distribution, you can set the apt repository instead. And that's what we're going to do. So in here, I'm going to go over this real quick, and then I'm going to do some copying and pasting. But I want to go over what this says, because remember I told you in the last video, you don't just copy and paste off the internet, especially if some guy on Reddit tells you to. I'm not on Reddit, by the way. Anyway, so we have 5 or 6 different steps here to do. And it looks like a whole bunch of Chinese writing. Let me break it down for you. Step 1 is going to create a directory to store the APT or apt repository keys if they do not already exist. We're going to copy and paste that line. The next one we're going to do is import the Mozilla APT repository signing key. Fair enough. What this does, wget goes out and it grabs this file and it's going to install it. Then we have to sudo t it to this file here, and t basically just outputs a file. You can echo hello world and then pipe it to sudo t and a file name, and it will echo that hello world into a different file for you. This greater than dev null just means it wants to suppress the output of the rest of this command. Step 3, the fingerprint should be this right here, and you can verify it by running this whole gobbledygook right here. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to import the key, then it's going to use awk to get the key, and the key should, or the fingerprint rather, it should match this right here. If you notice, this should match this, which should match the text that is in this. If it does match, it will tell you that it matched. If it doesn't match, it will tell you it expected a different one. That's all that says there. Next, we're going to add the apt repository to your sources list. I am willing to bet you this is going to be the old format, and we're going to need our modernized sources yet again. This one here is how to prioritize packages, which is the second part of this video. The first part was showing you apt mark hold. If you just want to hold a package, bam, it's held. This allows you to use a technology that's called apt pinning. This thing really does deserve an entire video all of its own, but I'm going to run through it really quickly. Apt pinning allows you to set a priority based on which applications you want and which repositories it comes from. So just kind of gloss over a little bit, we're going to create this file here in that preferences.d directory we showed last video. And in that, we're going to actually just write these 3 lines. This says, take all packages that have the origin of packages.mozilla.org and set them as a priority of 1000. The higher the priority, the higher the priority, okay? So that means that when we go and execute this command here, this last one, it's going to pull Firefox, since Firefox is found in packages.mozilla.org, and it's also found in deb.debian.org, it's going to prioritize and make this one happen first. So this one is more important than the one that's in the default repos. And the reason why we want to do it this way instead of doing the apt-mark hold is because you might actually want to use the extended release version, or ESR. And if you mark it, you can't install it. So this is a much better way to do it. This way, this allows Mozilla, again, if you really want to use the ESR version, that's fine. But this just says that Mozilla gets to manage the versioning of it instead of Debian. That's all that's going to do. So let me go ahead and get this started real quick. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put that down there, and we're going to move this to here. And let me copy and paste this real quick. So copy, paste. Come on. Shift insert. Copy this. Shift insert. Now let's see if that fingerprint matches when we import this. It should. Fatal directory doesn't exist. Verification does not match the expected one. Really? That's kind of weird. Okay. At this point, I would really stop and research on why this failed. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and continue because what I'm demonstrating is how the pinning works, not whether this is a success or not. So we're going to ignore the fact that it failed just for this video. In real life, we would stop right there and go figure out what's going on with this. Okay? And there it goes. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and maximize this out again. Clear the screen. CD apt preferences. Okay, and there's Mozilla. And when we nano that, this is what it looks like right here. So we have our packages, where it's coming from, and our pinning. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. No, I don't want to save the buffer. I can't save it anyway. But when we back up, we go into sources. Here's our Mozilla.list again. It's not a .sources, it's a .list. And if we can't that, instead of nanoing it, we notice it's in the old format. So again, we have to run our apt modernize sources. There it goes. Yes, we want to. And now it wrote it in the new format. And there, it's in the new format, just like all of our other files are. Okay, so at this point, I am not going to try to install or remove Firefox or anything like that because I got that key mismatch error. I'm going to go and see if I can figure out why that did that. But again, that was not important to the context of this video. The context of this video was to show you how you can apt pin. Let's go ahead and back up a second here. Go to preferences, D. All right, LS. There's another way that we can block snaps, and that is to nano snaps or snapd. It's probably better. And then I can do the pin priority and set the priority to -99. Because remember, I said the higher the priority, the more important it becomes. By setting that to -99, again, it'll look like this. It'll look just like this, and we would put package snapd here, and then we'd put the origins of any, and then we'd set pin priority to -99. And by doing that, it's holding the package because it's in the negatives. It has no priority whatsoever. And as that, when you go to install it, and as you install a package where snapd becomes a dependency, or even if you try to install snapd directly, it'll say, I can't do that. You told me not to. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I do apologize for the technical difficulties there with it not liking its key. I really wish it would have went through, but also, as I said, that's not really important to the context of this video. The context of the video was to show you how to do apt pinning. Anyway, if you like these videos, make sure you click like and subscribe.